The after party by Calvin Klein was expected to be glamorous, but what unfolded when Jungkook appeared went far beyond predictions. It wasn't just a brand event, it became a cultural moment where music, fashion, and personality merged into something unforgettable. His presence alone transformed the evening, pulling attention from every direction, reshaping the energy of the venue, and solidifying once more why he stands at the center of global conversations. This was not simply about an artist attending a party. It was about how one figure could alter the atmosphere of an entire gathering. The party was filled with industry insiders, designers, models, and celebrities, but Jungkook's arrival instantly reset the hierarchy in the room. What Calvin Klein likely envisioned as a stylish after-show celebration turned into a phenomenon where every eye, every camera, and every conversation circled back to him. Before Jungkook arrived, the after-party already radiated luxury. The lighting was designed to complement the minimalist but edgy identity of Calvin Klein, with sleek interiors, soft yet focused spotlights, and curated spaces for mingling. Guests were dressed in bold combinations, sharp tailoring, statement denim, and daring cuts that reflected the essence of the brand. The energy was buzzing, yet there was an unspoken sense that something was missing, a center point that would bring coherence to the event. The moment Jungkook walked in, the shift was palpable. It wasn't just the fans outside who erupted. Even inside, seasoned fashion figures, people who usually hold their composure at high-profile gatherings, turned their attention to him. The sound of chatter dimmed for a brief moment before transforming into a wave of admiration, whispers, and applause. His presence didn't just add to the atmosphere, it redefined it. At an event built on aesthetics, fashion choices mattered. Jungkook's ensemble carried more weight than most because his reputation with Calvin Klein has elevated him into one of the brand's most visible global icons. Every detail was meticulously observed. The sharp silhouette of his jacket, the understated layering, the way the denim accentuated both casual confidence and elevated elegance. His look was neither forced nor experimental for the sake of attention. Instead, it reflected harmony with Calvin Klein's DNA while still showcasing his individuality. Critics often say that true style is not about wearing clothes, but about letting clothes live on you. In this case, Calvin Klein pieces did not overshadow Jungkook. Instead, he made them breathe differently. The outfit wasn't a costume for the night. It was a seamless extension of his identity. Fashion journalists present at the party noted how he managed to bring both star power and relatability, making Calvin Klein's designs appear aspirational yet approachable. Beyond visuals, what captivated everyone was his interaction with the crowd. Instead of positioning himself as distant, Jungkook moved through the party with warmth and presence. He greeted people with eye contact, short but meaningful exchanges, and an energy that made even brief encounters feel memorable. Guests who were used to formality in such environments described his approach as refreshing. He didn't rush conversations or act guarded. Instead, he balanced humility with charisma, which made both fans and fellow celebrities respond with enthusiasm. This ability to connect on a personal level while still carrying the aura of a global superstar is rare. It blurred the line between spectacle and sincerity, allowing the after-party to become more than a celebration of fashion. It became a night of shared moments. Although this was not a concert, Jungkook's presence alone created a performance-like experience. Every gesture, every movement carried weight. His laugh, his posture, and even the way he held a glass during conversations seemed amplified in meaning because the room was so attuned to him. Cameras captured not only his outfit, but also the subtleties of his expressions, the natural ease with which he interacted, and the magnetic quality of his presence. For many attendees, it felt as if they had front-row seats to a show that didn't need a stage. This wasn't choreography, yet it felt orchestrated by the authenticity of his personality. As expected, the after party didn't remain confined within the walls of the venue. The moment Jungkook stepped in, posts began flooding platforms across the globe. Clips of his entrance, snapshots of his outfit, and fan accounts of brief encounters spread with viral velocity. Hashtags trended within minutes, not just in South Korea, but across the US, Europe, and Southeast Asia. This digital wave underscored a truth. Jungkook isn't simply a figure in attendance, he is the story. Other celebrities at the event had strong followings, yet the disproportionate dominance of his presence online showed that he carries an unmatched level of cultural power. For Calvin Klein, this was marketing beyond imagination. Without scripted campaigns, without deliberate advertisement, Jungkook generated global attention that no traditional strategy could replicate. The night could have ended as just another after-party, memorable for its style but quickly fading into the cycle of luxury events. Instead, it carried a deeper resonance because of what Jungkook represents. Symbol of cultural bridge. His involvement with Calvin Klein shows how Eastern and Western influences no longer compete, but blend into new global standards. His ability to embody Calvin Klein's minimalism while carrying his own artistic essence makes him a bridge between audiences. Proof of individual power. While Calvin Klein is an iconic brand, Jungkook's influence at the event demonstrated how individuals can shift entire industries. His mere attendance created conversations about branding, marketing, and the future of celebrity influence. Emotional connection with fans. Fans outside the venue, unable to step inside, still felt included through his gestures and appearances captured on digital platforms. The sense of connection was not limited to those present, it was broadcast to millions who felt a part of the moment. By the time the party reached its peak, it was clear that Jungkook had done more than attend. He had elevated interactions into experiences. The people he engaged with weren't just meeting an artist. They were connecting with a person who carried humility alongside immense star power. Though no formal stage was set for him, the night unfolded as though Jungkook was performing in ways that transcended music. Every movement seemed amplified. When he laughed at a remark, nearby guests leaned in as if they had witnessed something rare. When he adjusted his jacket or lifted his glass, photographers captured it like choreography. The key was that none of this was calculated. The performance was unscripted, and that's why it resonated so strongly. Attendees didn't feel like they were watching an artist putting on an act. They felt they were witnessing authenticity in real time. That rawness carried more impact than a rehearsed showcase could have. For fans following online, clips of these moments became touchpoints. They circulated on platforms not as staged highlights, but as proof that Jungkook could captivate without needing a microphone, spotlight, or stage. The after-party wasn't advertised as a performance, yet by the end of the night, everyone agreed they had experienced one. Outside the venue, the global audience was just as engaged, if not more. The moment Jungkook appeared, fans on the other side of the world felt like participants. Social media acted as an extension of the party, with updates spreading faster than official press releases. Within hours, hashtags topped Twitter and Weibo trends. Fan accounts on Instagram and TikTok curated clips that reached millions of views overnight. Fashion media outlets, initially covering the event from a style perspective, pivoted to make Jungkook their headline. Even mainstream news platforms outside of fashion picked up the story, framing his appearance as proof of his unmatched global pull. For Calvin Klein, this was a masterclass in the value of organic marketing. A single night with Jungkook generated publicity that months of traditional campaigns might struggle to achieve. It demonstrated how celebrity presence, when authentic and magnetic, can multiply brand visibility far beyond initial expectations. While numbers and headlines painted a picture of dominance, what deepened the memory of the night was the human element. Fans outside the venue described how Jungkook, even with limited time, acknowledged them with waves and glances. Inside, guests remarked on how he didn't present himself as untouchable despite his global stature. This human element bridged the gap between spectacle and intimacy. For those who couldn't be there physically, the genuine gestures broadcast online made them feel included. For those who were inside, the warmth in his demeanor contrasted the often sterile nature of high-end fashion events. In both cases, the result was the same. The night became unforgettable, not because it was grand, but because it felt real. Beyond entertainment and fashion, Jungkook's after-party presence spoke volumes about cultural direction. The rise of hybrid influence. Jungkook is not bound by a single industry. His power lies in his ability to merge music, fashion, and global culture seamlessly. His presence at a fashion event felt as significant as his presence at a music stage. Shifting standards of celebrity. Traditional celebrity culture often relies on distance, keeping stars apart from the public. Jungkook flips this by embracing accessibility while still retaining mystery. This duality sets a new standard: East meets West. His role with Calvin Klein isn't just an endorsement, it's a cultural bridge. He demonstrates that global icons don't have to abandon their roots to fit Western brands. Instead, they redefine global fashion from a balanced, cross-cultural perspective. The after-party is not an isolated memory. Its impact ripples into broader conversations about branding, fandom, and global entertainment. For Calvin Klein, it sets a benchmark for what collaboration with a global figure should achieve. For the fashion world, it challenges the idea of what kind of presence makes an event memorable. For fans, it reinforces why Jungkook isn't just an idol. They see him as a figure who continually creates history, even in settings where history isn't expected. Looking forward, this moment adds another chapter to his ongoing story. How every step, every appearance becomes more than an isolated event. It becomes part of a larger cultural movement where fashion, music, and identity collide.